Hey, Rich Lafferty with RLR here. I've had some requests for some more different tips, more or less my opinion, on tires. One of the things was tires. I've had some tire sponsors over the years, and the best tire, in my opinion, front, that it's funny because a lot of people keep going back to it right now and trying to copy it. Dunlop's trying to copy it, Kendra's trying to copy it, and they've done a pretty decent job, but there's no beating, in my opinion, Bridgestone M59 in the front. One time they tried to discontinue it and they brought it back, thank God. And it's not the best in every situation, but it can work in every situation. In my opinion, I say that a lot again, I know, my opinion. But it seems to work in a lot of conditions. I would run it in the rocks, slippery, slimy, rooty rocks, whether it was raining, whether it was dry, whatever. And I would run it in the sand, same way. Sand, if it was raining, if it was loose, slimy, mud, clay, anything, I would run an M59 in the front. And also, it's funny because I mention this a lot when I talk at schools and stuff, and guys ask questions like this. If I had my choice, because tires are not cheap these days. Okay, budget's the way it is with the family budget here. So can I can only afford a new tire for this weekend. A lot of people think rear. In my opinion, I'd rather have a fresh front than a fresh rear. Because the front is, in my opinion, if it's not sticking, you can't turn, man. So I would rather have a fresh front. So I'm more about M59 in the front. The Kenda Washougal was trying. I think they tried to duplicate it a little bit, and when they first come out with the new Washougal, it was pretty good. And then they started messing with the compound, and I think it went too soft. So it's a good soft tire, if you like that. But I think it still, I want to say it again, in my opinion, it tends to roll a little bit now versus this M59 stays planted. Where they mess with the compound and went softer, it starts to roll. So like I said, Bridgestone M59 in the front, and I run inserts, foam inserts most days. But while I'm talking about tires, I always like to give more than just one tip or whatever, because I know a lot of guys also ask tire pressure. If I was going to run tubes in the sand down here at home, 9 to 11, no more than 11. 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. If it was slimy, I might run 8 and I can get away with it, but I wouldn't go any less than that. Heavy duty tubes for sure. I mean, it's a little more weight, but you can't risk a puncture in a flat, I've ridden with them, but it's not fun. And that's front and rear. While we're talking about it, tubeless, I've never used it. Seems to be a lot of work. I don't mind maintaining my bike and maintenance and everything, but I don't want to have to do all that work. I see a lot of guys running it, and let's talk about rocky conditions. I've seen it where the lines to rocks, there might be a sharp rock and it leaves a cut in your sidewall. And I've cut sidewalls before and had a bib and never had a problem because it was a foam insert in there. But you cut the sidewall in the rocks, which happens quite frequently, with the tubeless system, and you're done. You're done. Your day's done. If you have a tube, you might not catch the tube, so you might be all right. A regular standard heavy duty inner tube, but tubeless system, in my opinion, yes, in the sand, because you can regulate the pressure and run it down, and I understand that, and that's what people always say, but can't beat a bib foam insert. When I say bib, I mean foam insert, like Michelin foam insert. They are a different feel, but I've ran them for so many years now that I'm just used to them. It's funny, they do have like a dead feel, but we're going to talk about rocks. When I think of a rocky situation, I can just charge through a rock garden and not have to really pick a line to avoid sharp edges or stuff like that. They are a little heavier, that's another downfall. But again, I don't want to take that chance of getting a flat. It's not fun, especially when it's the rear and your side panels. You know, you can see the side panel over here. You see the side panel over here because the thing's just on the sidewall. It's just, you know, flopping back and forth. Rear tire. Let's talk about a rear tire. You know, Kenda was probably one of my last tire sponsors. Great tire, good people. They have, you know, what I like about Kenda is a lot of the people that do the testing behind the tire, or did, I don't know about now, were off-road based instead of moto. A lot of the tire companies I feel, here's a new one, base all their testing around moto, and then, you know, off-road gets the scraps. And then, you know, it doesn't always work in off-road, but they claim that's their off-road tire. You know, Kenda does a lot of testing off-road based. So they're, you know, they're on the cutting edge, in my opinion, my feeling of tires. The Millville is something I just played around with recently. I haven't ran one in a while. I'm not a fan. I'd rather have a Washougal in the rear. The Washougal rear is a good tire. You know, but also, back to this bike, I've never been a Dunlop fan. I've always myself hated the Dunlop because they always felt so hard. The tire was so hard carcass for me, and everybody has feel. You know, everybody's different. But AT81 in the rear, not the front. Front, not a fan. Not a fan of the front. Doesn't stick, and it's a copy of the 59 in my opinion. Kind of looks like a little bit, but I think they tried copying it too, but they didn't do a very good job. But the AT81 in the rear is a good tire, Dunlop. Washougal Kenda in the rear. It's funny because I had a guy at a class this past weekend, and I'm looking at this tire, rear tire, I'm like, dude, that's an IRC M5B. He's like, yeah, how'd you know that? So it's an IRC tire, they still make them, M5B. When I was a kid in this area, a lot of local cycle shops used to sell them because they wear really good, and it's funny because they cost like 40 bucks. And it's the same tire, same knob pattern, same everything, and the thing was like 110 now, which is kind of crazy when you think about it, but that's life and that's what it is. But that is also a good tire for sand, and it wears really good, meaning it lasts a while. So Washougal, Kenda Washougal in the rear. The Millville's okay, it's just kind of hard in my opinion. I didn't really like it, and that was in sand conditions. It's a little bit too hard, just seemed to bounce around a lot. But it was okay. But I'd rather have a Washougal if I had a choice, or an AT81. Did like the AT81. Any other tires? Haven't really ran many other tires in the past here recently. So that's my tire opinion. So combo. I know for a little while there was a craze in this area, New England Metro especially, for the Pirelli MT16 in the rear and the M59 in the front, which is a good tire combination for rocks. I will agree with that definitely because I have used that in the past, and I mean most Metro guys know the deal. That being said, trials tires. Let's talk about trials tires. Kenda makes a really good trials tire. They're a lot of fun to ride on in the rocks and slippery conditions and roots. I know some guys down south, they use them everywhere, in the sand and everywhere, you know. And if that floats your boat, that's cool. I don't think they're good everywhere because the sidewall, you know, gives a little bit, and the knobs are staying, you know, flat on the ground, and the sidewall gives, so it's making contact. But eventually it hits that edge and it rolls over that edge. So you can't lean it too far, lean the bike over too far. It rolls a little bit on you. But in rocky, rooty stuff, man, I don't want to say it's like cheating, but you get a heck of a lot more traction than you would a knobby. But I mean, you can make a knobby work too. I mean, what did we do before trials tires? We survived, so we made it work. But trials tires are pretty fun. That being said, make sure I laugh because I know some guys are like, dude, because the trials tire is so soft. If you ever felt one, it's like gum. It's real gummy, real soft. The sidewall's soft, the knobs are soft. So much I remember the first time I put one on, I was like, dude, this thing's not gonna work. I was so scared of it. You have to run a bib, a foam insert bib. And I know guys are gonna hear this like, I run tubeless. Well, that's fine. But as soon as you slice the sidewall on a tire that has that soft of the sidewall altogether, it's easier to slice the sidewall on that than it would be a Washougal or anything else. it's tall sidewall, real soft. So what's that thing gonna do? It's just gonna roll around 10 times worse than I already mentioned. You're gonna be seeing your side panel in front of you, but and you can't ride on that thing flat. At least with Washugo, if I got a top tearing sidewall where there's less sidewall and it's a little more stiff, I can at least ride on it flat if I had to get to where I had to get. But it would not be any fun with the trials tire. So trials tire, definitely a bib. That being said, it's a big carcass, meaning the inside of the tire is really big. So you have to run a 140 Desert, and I'm talking Michelin here, foam insert. So you got to run a bigger foam insert inside than you normally would in a regular tire. And it's tough because if you're running indoors or something and you're running bibs, you got to have one for the trials tire, a bib for the trials tire, and a bib, 18-inch bib for the regular carcass tires, because their size different, carcass is different. I always see issues with that. You know, guys trying to put a small bib in a big trials tire, and then that thing is even more soft and squatty, and it just wanders around on them. That's not good either, man. Your bib's too small, and you're just going to create yourself more issues. So trials tires are kind of fun. Haven't rode on them in a while, but studded tires, Trollborgs is what we used to run back in the day. But any kind of studded tire you can find, they are very expensive because, I mean, there's a lot of work in them, weight and metal and whatnot, and a lot going on there. They're expensive. But if you live someplace where it's frozen ground and stuff like that and gets some pretty crazy winters, I think of this because of a trials tire. Studded tires riding on is the most fun you'll have on a dirt bike with frozen ground, because you make traction on everything. Ice, slippery, frozen logs, snow, whatever. Things wheeling over backwards. It's so much fun to ride on studs, so much fun. And they last. Because of the metal and everything, they last. As long as you're not riding up down alongside the blacktop road. I said that because I wore a set out one winter because I'd ride down the side of blacktop to the pit where we was riding, but wearing out that thing a little bit too soon. But just being dumb. But Trollborg studs, or they actually have some other studded tires out there, and I know a lot of people stud tires nowadays. But that's some fun too. You can have if you're dealing with a frozen wasteland out in the Midwest or something still. But that's my take on tires. Like I said, tire pressure 9 to 10 pounds, 11. If I was to go to some rocky conditions with tubes and I had no other alternative, like a foam insert, tire pressure would be like 12 to 13. But I would hate life. I would hate it just because 12 to 13, I just think of a basketball going through the rocks. It just bounces around more. You don't have that give. And then not only that, like I said, you can't pick that line through the rocks where that sharp edge is. You know, I always think of the biggest rock, you know, when sometimes that biggest rock did help get you over other rocks, but a lot of times that bigger rock has a sharp edge, man. And with a bib, you know, you hear that thing clang, slam into it or whatever, and just keep on trucking. Don't worry about it because it's foam insert. But with a tube, man, 12, 13 pound of air, and she'd still be pinched, and I'd be probably thinking about it the next 3 miles, like, dude, please don't be flat, please don't be flat. But so, and like I said, heavy duty tubes, but if I was going to run them in the rocks, it'd be like 12, 13 pound air. Anything more than that, I've heard more than that, and the thing doesn't handle them. It's kind of crazy. So just that's my opinion on tires. There was another Dunlap that they were making too that was kind of a copy for this. It wasn't the AT81, and it was. See, that's how long I've been out of the loop. I can't remember exactly what it was. It looked identical to a 59, but after a while it didn't last as long as the 59 because the side knobs started peeling. It was a real soft carcass tire, but the knobs were stiff. So obviously soft carcass, stiff knob, they start to tweak because of the soft carcass, and the knobs were peeling off on the edges. So it was it worked, not as good as a 59, but it worked, Dunlop, but it didn't last nearly as long. So I'll run a worn out M59 any day over mostly any tire in the front. So, and that's true because I've done it. But so, and like I said, if I had my choice and I could only afford a new tire, one or the other, front or rear, a lot of people, oh, you gotta have that fresh edge in the rear, fresh edge in the rear. Dude, I'll run a ball of rear tires if I can have a new front, fresh front if I had my choice. That's my my steering tire, man. That's turning, you know, getting your turns down and stuff like that. So rather than throwing dirt, I can always make traction with the clutch. So, but that's just me. That's how I feel. But just hope that sheds some light on some tires. And this guy just responded to one of my comments, or commented on one of my videos. What about tires, man? What do you think about tires? So that's some my take on some tires. And like I said, Kenda's got a good base tire. And, SRT, I think, distributes Kenda tires, so that's who you want to contact and go through them, and they have good deals and stuff like that. But that was Schugel, sandy conditions, and rocks works. The other ones work pretty decent that they have, but I remember when I ran Schugels in the rear, I'd run them in the rocks and the sand, and they work pretty good in the rear, just about everywhere. The front was okay. Like I said, though, they started messing with the compound and went soft, so M59 was more the tire for me. So that's my take on tires, man. So hope that was good for you guys, and keep the comments coming. I enjoy it, and subscribe to my videos and check it out. And I can endure this weekend, so I'm gonna work on my bike a little bit before I go to bed, get ready for work in the morning. So thanks, guys. See ya.